In this segment of the video series, I'm going to talk about this move right here. It's called a straitjacket, and I'm going to talk about 2 ways to get into it, how to sustain it, or tips on how to sustain it rather, and 2 ways to get out of it. Now, first way that we're going to talk about getting into it is the most common way that I've seen people get into it, or at least first learn how to get into it. It's the first way I learned how to get into it. That does not necessarily mean that it is an easier way to get into it. So, I'm going to talk about this one. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm essentially taking this buzzsaw inversion here and flipping it to my right, towards the right side of my body, and making it into a wheel/wall plane type of area. And what I'm doing is I'm making my right foot point out to the right. My left foot is pointing forward, so it's pretty much a 90-degree angle. I'm sorry about that. I have a cold. Now, once you have that footing and you have your left arm cocked out, your left elbow cocked out, facing forwards, you're going to be looking for that, or you're going to essentially just take that same buzzsaw inversion and transfer that same movement over here. So, once you're comfortable with that, you're going to look for that same rectangle that we talked about in the last video, and you're going to shoot your arms into the position. Now, this is the most comfortable position for me, at least, and that is the left hand is on my right shoulder, and my right hand, as you can see, is in my left armpit. It's called a pretzel position, because your arms are pretzeled. So you can do it that way, or I also like to do it just in the crooks of the elbows. It would still be the same thing though, with your left hand on your right elbow and your left hand on your right elbow and your right hand on your behind your left elbow in the crook. Is where both of your wrists are actually. So that being said, now you know the position that you're looking for. The position of right here. It'd be vice versa. If you want to look more into different pretzel positions, I definitely recommend looking at Cam Rush's straitjacket tutorial, and he is on the Tech Boy Facebook group and the Flow Arts Lunchbox Facebook group. So I find him on there, shoot him a message, or try and search up his tutorial on that group, one of the two groups. So that being said, uh, now this is the way that I feel is a lot easier because you're already halfway there on most accounts. Plus, there's more time, and the momentum is already there. So in the last video segment, we talked about these nice little wall plane inversions. Now that's gonna come in a lot of help. Handy. Frustrating. It's gonna come in a lot of handy because you already essentially know how to get that momentum started with knowing uh, the wall plane inversions. So the only difference here is that instead of having your left arm push you out of the inversion, your left arm is going to essentially just be making a little basketball hoop space for your right hand to just kind of slide into and get into that armpit or into that crook. Either way. And your left hand is already going to be on the right side, right next to your shoulder, essentially, or your crook, depending on where you're doing it at. And your hands are already both on the sides that they need to be. So you're just slapping it over and sliding it in. Slap and slide. So yeah, now you're in the position that you need to be for a straitjacket. So, from that, we're going to talk about sustaining. While I'm actually in position, I just want to talk about sustaining your planes. And something that definitely helps for that is dropping one of your poi and working on the plane with one hand that you're going to be doing for this little crosser here. So, as you can see, it makes rotation in front and behind of me. So it's 2 beats on each. In each hand, it's 2 beats. So, that being said, you do the same thing with the other arm, and remember that you're if you're spinning to the right, you're spinning forward, which give you another side profile with that. So yeah, that's going to help clean up your planes and be able to sustain it for longer without hitting your head or your nuts or respective parts of whomever may be watching this. So now I'm going to talk about the subtleties of the body that will definitely help in sustaining it. What I want you to do is I want you to imagine that there is a pen that goes all the way from the middle of the top of your head through your abdomen and your stomach, coming out of the bottom, in between your parts, uh, and it's touching the floor, and there is something that's there that you can write on. Okay, so now what you're going to be doing is making a little circle down there that's about the size of the width that your feet are apart. So if they're closer, there's going to be a lot less. It's gonna be a lot harder on your knees if your legs are closer. Is the real thing here. So you want to be shoulder length. Um. So and it's gonna be about the size of the width apart of your feet. The diameter is. Um. That being said, we're going to talk about circular motion or circular pressure with your feet. Uh, so, what I mean by that is you're going to be putting pressure on pretty much your weight, all of your weight, onto the left side of your foot, or the left side of your left foot, to the ball of your left foot, to the ball of your right foot, to the left or right side of your right foot, to your right heel, to your left heel, to your left side of your left foot, and around and around and around. During this, you're going to notice that having your knees bend just a little bit is definitely helpful for just keeping that motion going. Um, Another thing that might help with your hip movements is imagining that you're hula hooping and around your waist. Not like super fast or anything, but steadily. If you don't have a hoop, I'd recommend trying that if you're having trouble sustaining it, because it'll help for sure. And there's lots of places to get nice hoops, and making them is definitely the best way to go as far as that goes. And there's a lot of good tutorials on how to make them out there. So that being said, we're going to talk about exiting now. And I'm going to talk about two ways. Now, the first way that I learned how to get out of a straitjacket was by doing kind of a little pirouette and just doing an inversion out here, uh, essentially behind me, but I'm turning, so, on the other side of me. There's the words that make sense. So, and with that, I mean, that's going to feel pretty natural if you do a pirouette, and all all you're doing is you're sliding the tethers out back to that original inversion position, and you're bringing your right hand out, and you're making that your driving force, and you're just kind of going into a weave at that point. Now, the other way that I'm going to talk about is finishing off that while playing inversion. So, coming in from a wall plane inversion will make getting out on a wall plane inversion that much easier. And you coming in from a wall plane inversion, or whichever respective way you want to come in from, it really doesn't matter, I guess. It's just going to make it look prettier and cleaner this way. And once again, you're gonna slide your tethers back to that original inversion position, and you're just going to finish it off like you're finishing a wall point inversion. You're pushing with your left arm, and you're coming out of it. This trick is really, really, really aggravating. It is really super duper, just, it'll make you pissed off. It'll really make you pissed off. Um, so be patient with yourself and remember that you're learning and that this is fun. If you're not having fun, then, you know, do something else for a little bit and then come back to it. Yeah, I hope this is helpful for you, Michael, and for all of you that are watching this as well. Uh, thank you very much. Have a nice day.